Hello interweb, this is Dannage, and welcome back to Cattle Shores. Maybe I should call this Cattle Shores Redux, because since the version that we're now using, there were, that many other versions. It's saved. All I can say is it's a good thing that I record these a week in advance. Although now it is not technically a week in advance. It's only a couple of days in advance. This is Monday and I'm recording Wednesday's episode. Or I'm re-recording Wednesday's episode. There have been a number of things that I have discovered during the course of doing more work in this town. There were some issues. I was getting some issues with some dynamic indexes being out of range, some traffic manager issues, some mod conflicts. At one point, I discovered, or I thought I'd discovered, see, that path just doesn't want to go across there, unless I put anarchy on, in which case it will. And I had done that. And at some point, I had, on the other side, I'd basically crossed over all these roads with these paths, got this error message, did some comparison between two files, essentially figured out that pretty much the only thing that I'd done was to do some of these paths under the road on the other side. So I took them out. And then I resaved the game, and then I didn't get the error message when I loaded. So I thought, well, that's obviously the solution. It was a conflict because I had pathways intersecting with roads, and Traffic Manager obviously wasn't liking that because it was thinking, well, is this a road or is this a pathway? Who has priority? Can't take the traffic confusion. That was all good. Did another couple of episodes. Then, some short amount of time ago, that I had very much the same thing going on, and I'd gotten rid of the paths, and then I started looking through the error messages and the error logs. Those error logs are absolutely terrible. You just sit there and you go, oh, well, okay, it's telling me some stuff. It's telling me some stuff is broken. But it's telling me that some terrain is broken somewhere. It's not giving me any coordinates, not telling me which bit of terrain. So somewhere in a whole map, and literally I had deleted more than half of everything that I had added since. And these guys are always going to be sick. I think I'm going to demolish these houses and replace these with commercial because of the noise. That's working all right. Let's move some of those over. So got to the point where I thought I'll just get back to where we'd finished at the end of episode 10, because that still worked. And to be honest, episode 11 output still worked, and episode 12 kind of ish. But yeah, no. I did then notice that in episode 11, like an episode before the problems, I'd actually anarchied those paths under those roads as well. So even though they're obviously not the problem, we just gave it a go. The other thing that we're going to do whilst I'm there is, I know I'm going to move this, but the fire station and the police station are going to move somewhere a bit more central, because crime starts building up in this area. And we don't want that for our... it will soon be 5-star industry, do we? No, we don't want any crime. Just with the ore, we'll take, I think it was the small underground mine. There's 2 extra ore mines there. And the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to take that district and we're going to make it ore industry. And what else we will do is we will take a couple of these elements and we're just going to put in some very small industry units here and there. And one of the reasons for this is going to be to jump the electricity. Have I got the... Yep, I've got the recycling centre there. It's hard to remember what I've done from previous episodes and what I haven't now. So bear with me, viewers, bear with me. We want to make as much electricity jumping as possible. Yes, it's going to cause some extra pollution, but we're all up in the pollution in the industry area because, you know, it's kind of dirty. Dirty. It's just a couple of very small pieces, and hopefully most of those will spawn in as some sort of, like these, just these little sort of areas of props hanging around, cluttering up my district, but also allowing the electricity to jump, because I do want to get rid of as many of these power lines as I possibly can. So I need to put some electricity jumping between there. So the other thing that we wanted to do, we wanted to look at the city vitals. Electric, we've got plenty of. Water, we don't have a tremendous amount of, and we also don't have a water pump anymore. I thought I'd done that in episode 9. Okay, I will put a water pumping station in. This will basically, I can only put so many water towers in, right, for it to look realistic. I'm going to use another. For now, I'm going to use the block service. I know, it's a bit of a cheat. But what I'll do there, I'll put that in. I'll put a rock on top of it and some vegetation. I will put a road leading up to this at some point, which I will remind myself to do by starting off. So the other thing, I went looking for help. Yes, so with the inability to read the issues, I went looking for some help, and some people said, "Well, show me your mod list." And I said, "Well, I'm looking at the traffic manager output report, and it isn't saying there's a problem with the mods and no mod conflicts." But people did point out that a lot of my mods were actually 4 years old and apparently massively out of date, or have all been replaced. I've replaced a lot of mods. That's one of the other reasons I've gone back to a much earlier version, is because I don't know how much I might lose. The water has been sorted out completely. Garbage, we've got some landfill usage, even though we haven't actually got any landfills, but I'm presuming that landfills, these MRF stations or these recycling drop-off points, are counting as landfill because they do fill up. Education, we've got some education for high school. We've got more than enough capacity, but we still have a bunch of red houses here. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. One of those reasons is going to be because we don't have enough schools, so I'm going to add another school there in that local area. That's going to have an impact on these guys. Now, that's 4 elementary schools in that area. I think 1 elementary school covering this tiny amount of space is realistic. So the other thing that we needed to do is we needed to improve the transport, but we'll come back to that. High school, we've got high school again. The only road coverage is going that far, but I know the smiles went all the way out to the edges. So again, public transport to help with that. University, we don't have any university space, and at the moment that feels more like a city thing. I wouldn't put it in the urban sprawl. I might put it outside of the city, but not urban sprawl. Public libraries, we've got a few around. I'm going to add another one here. I'm going to leave some space for the road there. We're now out of the posh residential area with that, and then we're going to move the library. Not using Move It or the road tool. Come out of all of your tools, Dannage, and bring your attention back to... There we go. We got the library behind the school. And then we are going to involve a large playground. We'll put that back here on the main road, because that's the best place for playgrounds, is on main roads, as we all know. But it won't matter because they'll all have footpaths. Yep, so that little area's connected. Now I'm going to put a footpath there as well, and then hook it up. So there's plenty of walkways around there. Going to make these areas, if they're not, because that's quite a large amount of space, so I'll make these areas ones that can have a lot of walkways in them and encourage a bit of foot traffic. Education, therefore, that's going to pick up. Now, at 65% still uneducated, that's pretty poor. I'm not very happy with that. I will be adding some transport to this, but we'll get to the transport in a minute. Happiness. I'm happy with everybody seems fairly comfortable. Healthcare. It's good coverage. It's good coverage. Death care. It's good coverage. It's good coverage. Childcare. We've only got a little bit of coverage, so maybe we should add another childcare facility on this side. Is that the Child Health Centre? Yes, it is. Opposite the recycling centre, so that the children can learn about recycling. Elder care, we've got one here. We do not have anything in the old town. Let's rectify that by putting in an elder care home. And we have got this nice straight street here because it's quite a large building. So we'll put that there on the corner of Old Town, where Old Town starts to flesh into the city. And that will be near the factories, where they can all look out and think about how it was great during the Industrial Revolution. Levels. Ooh, industrial levels. We finally got some leveling up there. That's good. Oh, because I've got some industry now, of course. But everything else seems to be on level 1. Now, there's no offices yet. I haven't put any offices in because I haven't built any of the city. I'm going to need to up those levels. Traffic, 82%. I'm still happy with that. Traffic's looking pretty good. There is a jam up here. This is not the jam that I saw before. I saw a jam earlier, and this car didn't do it. There was now it was one of these things, and what I did is that, and I don't. Oh, let me switch that off. Maybe they will. Yes. Look, see, they come to a halt. They come to a halt, presumably as something else is coming, maybe to give way or something. Even though there was no give way signs, but I've just clicked. I made that green in a way Biffa would be proud of. And then I had a big jam of stuff here, and then it just flew through, and then 5 seconds later it was clear. Don't know what it was called, but I stopped the cars pausing. Pollution. Now we've got a little bit of pollution because we've got obviously a lot of industrial areas, but our average ground pollution is still only 2% and no drinking water pollution at all. Brilliant. There's lots of noise, but all of the noise is around the commercial areas. I don't really have and I'm going to put a few more trees in there, and there we can see, yeah, it's just retracted a little bit, so this house is okay. 25%. Let's see if we can make that come down at some point. Fire protection, we have got fire protection around here now. 54% sounds really low. I think that's probably the whole map though, and I've got a lot of obviously flammable trees. But the important thing is that my fire protection would appear relatively adequate for all of my buildings. Maybe just a little bit at the end here. It's tempting. You almost want a vanilla, even smaller one thing just to get these buildings in the corner. So your fire protection hasn't really increased it. In fact, I just watched it go from 54 to 52. There you go. Add a fire station, increase your hazards. 10% crime rate. That's not terrible. I don't know why that's showing up red in this journey. Let us come out of crime. Maybe there are multiple problems with that building. And it's gone. I didn't do anything. It's just a garbage truck came along. So obviously... there's crime. It's crime. Hello. Police officers. There's a crime there. See, now the thing is, I've got all my services, garbage, healthcare, fire, crime, education. They're all 150%. So they're all maxed out. Well, maybe that'll disappear soon. Let's, while we're up here, have a look at our electricity. Now that's linked up to that, which is linked up to that, which is linked up to those things. So I can probably get rid of... Yep, I think everything else is linked. I'd need to build a little bit of linkage here. Let's do again just these single... Well, we'll probably end up in just being like piles of props. And also add a little bit more detailing to the area. So we've got that. They're all linked up. So I think that is now all connected. Just going to move this guy just slightly closer to the police station. Then I can move the police station slightly closer to him, and we will see that that makes any difference to that crime. So regarding transport, we have got some transport in here. We've got the tram line, which I am going to change back to its natural purple, I think. So I don't want to get confused when I'm looking at my lines. Now, I do want to look because I believe, yes, okay, so we've got 205 people waiting at that station. These lines need more trams. So here we'll go. We'll move that up from 3 to 5. So there's quite a few people using the trams, which is good. There's nobody going to the schools. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce our first bus route. And in order to do that, I'm going to need to have a bus station. Oh, so much stuff to do. Get rid of the traffic lights. Add giveaways. I'm not actually going to... it's just going to be the one giveaway, actually. I'm going to let the industrial traffic do what the hell it wants. Just going to smooth out some of this terrain for making way for my bus station. Going to put it on this line and maybe actually upgrade that road, as I feel that the majority are going to be... Oh, actually, no, I could do it asymmetrical both ways, couldn't I? So it's asymmetrical that way, coming out, asymmetrical that way, going back in, and therefore, wherever your buses come out, there will be an extra lane. I only want the small bus depot. That's linked electrically. Brilliant. Right, so you come. I'm actually going to move this so that it's sort of halfway now. If we have a bus coming out and the bus is going right, it's got 2 lanes. If the bus is going left, it's got 2 lanes. And I'm appreciative that that's not your left and that's not your right. But if you look at it from the bus's point of view, what I said was entirely accurate. So we're going to set up some bus routes. Now it's very tempting. The main objective here is going to be to service the schools. But I can't very well not service the train line at the same point. So I will come back. Now I am going to, because this is a local route, so there will be frequent bus stops near junctions or near something to do. Now there's not much on that side of that junction, but because I'm going to do the sort of opposite side bus stops, there will be some there. So I'm going to therefore put it next to the pathway entrance as well. And then do we want it going around there? No, we don't. What we will have is we will have going up to the library. That's as close as we'll get to the cemetery, and then link it there. So that's our first bus line completed, and we want to do an opposite bus line. And there we go. Just going around sort of the circle, not going up and down the main commercial bit, but it has now connected several places to the train station and the school. And I'm just going to adjust these bus lines. 4 vehicles feels a little bit too much for those areas, so I'm going to bring it down to 2. Old school Staunentation. Old school, Old Town School and Station. So both those bus lanes now reduced to 2 vehicles and appropriately named. Off they go. We'll do the same thing on the other side. We will want to connect the shopping mall as the unique building, the high school, the station, and several elementary schools. So this is going to be a bit of a challenge. And there we have it. 25 stops each, 7 vehicles on each of those. I've taken it down. It was going to be 12. For some reason, it makes some odd choices about the route. So eventually I sort of added some stops there. It didn't seem to want to go out to the edges. And then somewhere, like here, for example, you take a line from there to there, and for some reason it decides, I think the best route will be to go out and come back in. I want to show some people some coastline. Yeah. I don't know why it does that. But there we go. So we go through, we link up the high school. You see that little bit of detour there. No idea why. Why it wouldn't just be quicker to just go straight. I don't know. Is it encouraging me to add another stop here or something? I don't know. Anyway, we go to the school. We go to the other school. Look, if I... there is a train station there with a stop next to it. There's a school there. The library here has the school right behind it, so that's probably walking distance. So there's some other stations. A lot of the stops I've actually put alongside some of these crowded metro stops as well, or the tram stops. So there should be some sharing. That's going to be interesting to see who uses which form. Population. We've got a lot of population. Import and export we don't really care about. The fact is we're not importing a tremendous amount other than goods, and we're not importing much in the way of raw materials, but we are exporting a fair bit of ore. Land value, not looking terrible. It's picking up in some of these areas, and in the old town it's quite nice. So we have some good land value there. They're expecting some levelling up soon. Tourism, we've got a city attractiveness of 30. It's not bad considering we haven't built any of the city yet. And attractiveness, we've got some green areas of attraction. We've got 4 stars there. I'd like to take that up to 5 stars. And I think the way I'm going to do that is with a couple of extra gazebos. Actually, a climbing frame might do well here. Most as if I recall that there's some entertainment, I believe, missing from these gardens. Our entertainment level needs to come up by another 60, assuming that extra climbing frame didn't do it. Ding! There we go. 5-star park. Joy. And 5-star industry. Double joy. Double whammy of joy. And that looks a lot busier now, doesn't it? That looks a lot more intricate. Well, I believe that is the park maintenance. We've got some park maintenance around there, not around here. So that will be our final job, is to add a park maintenance building. Is to find a park maintenance... Oh, there we go. Wrong tab. And we'll chuck a sauna in there. And a Japanese garden. And then add some trees. Just to make it pretty and quiet. Because we love our trees and our fire hazards. That is where I shall leave you. I shall leave you here with a view of night falling over this city for the first time probably since they started, and going, oh my god, I had to switch the lights on. Ah, Jesus. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving any likes. And we will see you again on Friday for episode 12, where we're going to make a start on the city itself. Tune in. It promises to be nearly exciting. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.